news on the pound. Yeah,
What's happened?
Just well, Boris Johnson's
Oh,
sick.
that, yeah.
So yeah, so that's
Is that likely to
not
affect
helping
anything?
things. It depends how long he stays sick for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, just get my... There we go. Right. Sorry guys, we're just having a chat in the background that we are live and free on YouTube. I'm seeing my internet isn't very good. Can you hear me all right, Jeff?
I can hear you all right, mate. Yes, absolutely. Oh, my goodness. I just had a little burst of you in my ear hole.
I've
In
got
my
a
other ear
feeling.
hole.
I've got a feeling this isn't going to be broadcasting that well. I've changed rooms to try and get more of a kind of stable office place. Let me see if I can. Yeah, I can't see my screen that it's sharing.
Okay. You're on. Hi, Kuma. You're on
On YouTube.
on YouTube, yeah? We were. Now we've gone to black.
Good day, Kuma. How you doing, buddy? It should
There you
be
go.
on YouTube. Yeah,
You're
okay.
back. Yep. All good.
Is that all right? Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
All
Looks to
right.
be
Well,
frozen.
let's quickly.
Oh, no, that's my cursor. It's all right.
Okay, let's see how we get on here. I don't know. Not quite sure how. Kuma, let me know if there's any internet issues. I've changed rooms. I've got a feeling this might be a more of a challenge than it should be. And I've got a load of new. All good. Okay, great. I've got a load of new technology that's part of this room as well, which might cause a bit of a challenge. Anyway, FTSE. Let's have a quick chat on the FTSE while we think everything's okay. Can you see my screen all right there, Jeff?
Yeah, mate. All good.
Yeah. Okay, great. All right, so FTSE 100, we are looking out for longs, funnily enough. The session in Asia was pretty good. It looks like there's some further stimulus coming out of Japan, which has boosted Asian markets. So the FTSE looks like it's just broken out. Now, it's probably just needs to hold pretty much where we are, maybe a little bit higher, because there's a little trend line here on the hourly chart. Might come down a little bit further. It would be that would be better. There is a few pivots down at 54.63, so a little bit lower as well. So chances are I'll be taking a long in the FTSE at some point today, maybe around about the 5,500 level. Currently at 55.34. So I'm going to set that up and let you guys know about it. And I'll pass to you now, Jeff, to set up the pound trade because, to say, this technology is it may well beat me. So let me quickly set up a FTSE trade and I'll pass to you, set that up, and then we'll come back and see if we take it or not.
Right, mate. Happy days. We'll do. We are just about a minute away from open. Let's see what we can find from the pound today. There we are. Oh, a bit of a selling late and prior to the open. Let's see what that's all about. Looks like it's me who was having a technical problem.
I'm not sure, mate. I'm there's a few things I'm not seeing.
I'm missing some data. Yeah, me too. Anyway, I don't know why that would be. But anyway, we've got an open and we're trading the breakout of the last three candles on an hourly chart, the range of the last three bars. So 1, 2, 3. So there's the low. We'll be going short 10 pips underneath that level. And there's the high. We'll be going long 15 pips above that level, above the high of that bar, which will be in a terrible place because we've got a stack of resistance above us here. Let's see what that means. So we'll place the long first, and the entry for the long will be at 1.2290. So we'll put that in the market. 1.2290. Oh, it's defaulted to that. Oh, because I split it last week, didn't I? Okay, got it. And 1.2290 is a a buy stop. The stop loss for that will be 10 pips below that bar, as I said, at 1.2205. So 1.2205 is the stop for the long. It will also become the entry for the short. So let's put that one in the market.
Yeah, just really quickly, it looks like
Need to go to you.
94% of stops are positive territory. So I think we'll probably be buying the next in the next few minutes here. I'll let you know when it happens.
I'll quickly place this short and just take it if you need it, mate. So 1.22, forgot now. 1.22, come here, you little grommet. 2205 is the entry for the short. And the stop loss for the short is the entry for the long, and it was at 1.2290. So there you go. They're the parameters for today's UK Open pound breakout trade.
Brilliant.
Why won't let me do that? 2290, 2205, because I've got a buy limit there to sell stop. That's why. Right, mate, all yours.
Great. Okay, let's have a look, because we do want to get into the FTSE today. We're probably going to have to buy above this bar because sorry, I'm saying this bar and you guys haven't got my screen, so let me do that first.
Can you take it?
Yes. There we go.
Hi, bro. Hi, Helen. Hi, John. How are we doing, guys?
How are we doing, guys? So we're having a few kind of Monday. Oh gosh, I don't want to see all that. Let's bring that over here. It's a bit of a mess, all this. Here we go. Okay, so we're looking at this bar here. Now this is on the hourly chart. So let's just bring it on a shorter term time frame. Probably, if we get above this bar, we start sort of going above this bar. So 55.50 is going to be that on the futures. Then we want to be buying the FTSE. Looks like it's opened up fairly positively, and I see about 90% of stocks in positive territory. Yeah, it looks like triggered. Maybe it has. Yes, triggered. Okay, so we are long the FTSE. Going long the FTSE here. And we'll see how we get on. It's a bit early, and it might again be a bit of a scaling scenario. We can see that there is a weekly pivot down here, so we might be looking for another 100 pip drop really before it starts to pick up. But decent session in Asia. So the way that I would play this is put your order in here and put a stop probably somewhere near the for you guys instead. Here we go. So we're going long here. So it's going to be 55.75. Let's call it. It's 55.75 for the long, and you're probably going to be putting a stop under there. So it's about 120 quid. 120 pip stop for right now. But you're looking to add. So add above if it starts to go. Probably aiming for looking for long. So we're looking for the long area. So if you go in light at this particular stage, with a pretty decent chance that it comes back a little bit further, it just makes sure that you don't miss the trade altogether, but you scale in. You manage to scale in and not risk too much of your capital on the very, very first trade. Now it does mean that down to this point, because there's such a decent there's a decent distance between the two. And then scale in, and as you scale in, then in fact I would go 0.5% from this point to this point, and then when you come down, if the market does come down and you scale in, then you add your other 0.5% between that point and that point, meaning that or even this point, it might be in that point, meaning that the second half is a better risk to reward ratio for, looks like around about 54.50. So do the kind of maths on that and aim for about 54.50 for 54.45, 54.50 for the stop area, and that will be your side. I'd be doing this in 2 bits. Now, if we start to take off, it will become a different story, because at that point, but it depends if you take off and come back on the next dip, then you can move stops and then start to add as it goes up. So so the scaling is the answer here, really. There is a along here, which is the reason why this area looks okay, right? It looks like an all right area to stay positive. 94% of stocks are in positive territory. So we got a barometer which is saying that that we are looking to buy. We have had a decent session over in Asia. Dow Jones is up near 2,200, 2,107, 2,100, 21,000, sorry, 700. So we are in this kind of buying scenario with all these stocks. Yeah, there's a bit of a problem with that monthly pivot on the, is that a monthly pivot or is that a different line? That looks like the monthly pivot up there. There is some resistance up here. I think it is the monthly pivot, actually.
But I can see technically why we'd want to be long here. Drivers?
Oh, I think the driver is that it appears that some of the global cases are have diminished a little bit. This was probably one of the better weekends for news and you know, news about the virus. I would say, you know, we've had a shrinking in cases in Italy, and oops. We've had a shrinking in cases in Italy, and and also the UK has said that they would potentially have a peak in around about 10 days. I think the US may well have recorded a few less cases as well. So I think the actual news has come out to be fairly positive. Now, don't get me wrong. I really am very bearish on this market. I think it's ridiculous that we would be doing anything of any type of significant rally. But as the market has opened up today, it makes no sense not to be on board with the longs, you know, and let those play out. Now, the reason I think that there's still lower to go is that dividends are being cut in stocks. We've had buybacks, I think, effectively banned. Don't quote me on that because I'm not 100% sure, but there is a problem with buybacks. So that means that directors aren't allowed to buy their own shares, which is problematic. You know, if you want some stocks to improve, then one of the ways that they continue to buoy the price of their stock while it's coming down is to buy back some of the shares. And as far as I'm aware, certainly from what Julian was saying, I haven't read that myself, but Julian, I think that's what he was alluding to, is that that some of the buybacks have been made illegal, and I think he might have even said forever, but he might be talking about some of the US stocks be paid for the year. On many stocks, you know, the banking stocks aren't going to have dividends paid, and there are continual releases of stocks that aren't going to pay a dividend. So if they're not going to be paying a dividend, then for that reason alone, I'd be very surprised. I'm surprised why people would be buying stocks at this particular time. You know, they'd be looking more, I would have thought, in the third quarter. So I'm still bearish stocks, but I think in the short term, it looks like we might take a little leg up. So let's just ride it if it's there. You know, we'll open up my other charts at some point as well and check out what's going on with the news and data.
Mate, we've got a short show today, as we've got issues with technology coming up a little bit later. Yes. But we will be here till just the bottom of the hour, guys. We won't be here much after that. But of course, today is the first day of our US session, which starts at 2 o'clock UK.
Yes, it does, right? Mate. Yes.
9 o'clock Singapore, Hong Kong. And where I am, of course, it will be 2300 hours. Look, there's just going to be a stack of stuff in there tonight. We're going to show you guys how to create a journal from scratch, because we want to track each trade that we take in the show on the journal. So we'll be showing you how to do that. We'll probably add to that each and every day as to some new nuance that the the charts are telling us, or that the trade is telling us.
Yes.
So we'll be taking you through that. We might even track the pound trade as a start there, but I'd like to track the pound trade on one journal, and of course the any trade that we do take in the US session on another, and that's going to be on YouTube for the first 2 weeks, live and free, as I understand things. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, that is going to be on YouTube live and free. So yeah, you can probably click in the same way. I presume anybody that's in the Telegram group will get the link. And
yep.
Yeah, we're going to be. I mean, if this trade is off to the races during the day, then we'll I'll discuss how we'll be managing the trade for the rest of the period, whether we're going to be looking to come out early or letting it run. And yes, as you say, journaling and all that kind of good stuff. So there's going to be lots of good detail, I think, in the US session. So yeah,
I'll
join
be
us at
trading
9
the
o'clock.
minors as well as the majors as well. So that's something new to you guys, watching me trade the minors rather than just the majors. And I told you guys all the time that I don't trade the opening bar of UK session, and I proved it again on Thursday, right? That I think it was euro dollar on a 30-minute chart that we tried to take long. Didn't work. First candle in London. It's just a curse for me, and I'll go back into retirement again, Ash. Won't happen again.
I know, it's annoying, isn't it? Because you'll see one that works and think, oh, maybe this is okay, and then
No.
So never again.
No, it was just to prove the point, right?
Just to prove the point that you shouldn't do it.
That's what I'll say anyway.
Well, the FTSE's picking up a bit. Let's just quickly talk about Boris Johnson, because Boris Johnson has been taken into hospital again. And we did look at, and we got to look at WTI as well. We did look at some of the pound price action, actually looking like it was going to get a bit weaker off the back of that, but it's stabilized, isn't it? The pound, it's not doing too badly anymore.
Yeah, I'm a bear. I'm a bear. The pound, in particular, and I'll go through this late in the US session. The pound Aussie, I think that's a tradable commodity. I've been banging on about that for a couple of weeks. I think it may well be just at the point where we can find an entry on it as well.
Yeah. Okay, so we're a bear on the pound. Euro pound, I still find a really interesting chart.
Yeah, had a little. I got out of my trades on Saturday morning. I didn't want to trade through the weekend, so I got out of all those trades. Had a little rally. I think it might have taken off again, though. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's the euro pound on the daily. There goes the FTSE. Just had a little pop to the upside on the FTSE here. So if you've managed to get into that trade, then we just had a little pop up. So not massive at this stage. We just had a little pop forward. Really, I'm kind of focusing on the shorter term timeframes. But this particular bar is looking a lot better. You can see that from your learnings early on. This is an engulfing bar. You see it's gone below the first bar, and looks like it's closing at the high as well. So really positive first 15 minutes on the FTSE 100. So if you are in that trade, then we should be in pretty good shape to be able to manage this throughout the period. And of course you'll be in light, but you have to remember that these markets are moving. You know, it might look like 120 pip stop loss is a lot, but these markets are moving so much. The range is so vast right now that it probably won't take very long to get that 120 pips back to get to break even. Sorry, to get to break even if you take half off. You know, there's a few different ways that you can manage the trade, but certainly looking for direction, this looks like a pretty good bar right now to indicate that the FTSE is likely to get through this level at some point. You would think in the next hour. There are certainly buyers that are currently motivated in the FTSE. I'm going to tell you on the numbers as well. Numbers are suggesting right now that we have, looks like quite tricky, you know, just tricky changing systems, isn't it? You know, I've changed systems and my screens are just that little bit smaller. I don't have quite as many screens running today as I normally do. I normally have 4 that I'm looking at today. I've only got 2. And it does pose a challenge. So we are at 90, yeah, still 94% in positive territory. So all indicators are pointing to higher prices here on the FTSE 100. So if you're in that trade, then manage it as a bullish trade. I wouldn't be taking any profit. I would be looking at something, of a trend line. Looks like there's a little level up here, which may well start to create something of a pattern. Let's just check that on an hourly chart. Let's have a look if there's a channel there. Not really. But there is a trend line here. So we'll probably be sliding, any entries and any stops. We'll just be sliding right up against this right up against this trend line. So get your trend line drawn in. We are looking for the monthly pivot, but probably not going to take profit there. It's far enough away for us to just have stops, just trail some stops underneath it, which means that you probably won't have the opportunity to make quite as much. But obviously, leaving something on the table with a stop means that if it does continue to the upside, then if you're in short as well, which I am, then you're protected. And if it starts to take off and you haven't got the short on, then you got a chance to make even more money out of it. So looking pretty good on the FTSE right now, mate. Sorry, I was distracted by gold very, very quickly. Looks like it's frozen out just a little bit while the markets are buoyed. Still looks like a high probability to continue higher at some point with gold. Doesn't look like it's coming down. It seems to be in a bit of a holding pattern. Maybe if the cases continue to shrink, we might see just a little bit of coming back with gold as well. I don't know. But oil, I guess, is the story, isn't it, mate? Still the story,
yep.
Right now.
Yeah, look, we've got an oil trading expert coming in tonight as well. He's going to talk us through that move and whether we should be back into it or not. I think that's in the US session tonight, if you're about, guys.
Oh, brilliant. Well, it did gap down. Julian was talking about this gapping down, and I think he was talking about potential buying opportunities. I was talking about it getting above this weekly pivot before I was interested in oil, but well and truly up there now. Looks like a little trend line there. So
what do I know?
You still what? Sorry,
I still don't get it. To be fair, I mean, I understand why it's rallying.
Yeah,
but I still don't know. I mean, I'm not an oil trader, and I'm on the good side of it because I've got the CAD going, so I'm not complaining. But I still don't see that Donald's going to make a difference. But anyway, we'll see.
Yeah. It's a lot of things, can run on hopium, can't they? And I guess that's the oil story right now, which does make it difficult. And it's no different to the FTSE, mate. I have to say, the move to the upside has got no fundamental grounding whatsoever, which is why I'm a bear with the FTSE. But right now, the FTSE wants to go higher, so we may as well trade it that way. John, if you are in at small risk on the FTSE, that's fantastic, mate. And I would really encourage you always to go in at small risk. Just as confidence grows and as your trading grows, then you can what you'll recognize is that small risk really is the answer. That's the answer to growing an account, because it just means that you can really relax with your trades and you can really make some decent decisions. Now, if we've gone in at small risk on this FTSE, what it means is that we don't really care if it wins or loses to a degree. We want it to win, obviously, but we're not. We won't lose any sleep over it, and it means we can trade it properly. Because the idea with this, we're going in at small risk, is that we will increase the what's the word? The amounts of capital that goes on, but we will keep the risk at the same level or even decrease it depending on where that capital is added. Now, we'll probably go into this further in the US show, but I hope that if anybody is got into this, that they go into small risk, and I would encourage you to always do that. Your first trade should always be minimal risk, because as it goes higher, then, you know, I'm going to be adding to this FTSE. But what I'd really want to do is add when I have an aggregate number. So let's say we go from here, and in actual fact, let's do it on a, let's do it on this instead. Now, obviously, if we're not talking about the FTSE, then and we're talking about oil, it's the same deal. So we're in around about here, I think. It was about 50 odd, wasn't it? About there. So between this point and this point, halfway, somewhere around about there. Now, if it comes down to that point and then starts to go, meaning that we might even be able to add if it break through a level. If I can move my stop here on this trade is now in the money. Now, let's say it's made, what does that look like? Let's say it's made 50 pips to the upside. And between this gap and this gap is 20. That puts me 30 in the bank. And that will dictate how much I can add or how much I want to add. You know, am I quite happy for it to be break even by the end of it? I'll add that much. If I'm happy to go in at 1% risk here, knowing that I've already got some in the bank, then I will add that much. Now, that as time goes on, I'll explain that in further detail. But what I'm looking for is always to scale in to a trade, because that is really the way to really make money. Because what I'm saying is here is I want to speculate that this market is going higher. When the market goes higher, or if it goes higher, I am right. And if I am right, then I want to add to my my correct prediction. If I go in full at this area, in this area, then I'm basically telling the market that I know exactly what's coming. You know, so so that's the reason why I would encourage you to always scale in. Yeah, but even half. Would you say 0.5% is even maybe 0.5%? 0.5%'s the most I would go in at small risk. That's about right, isn't it, Jeff? I mean, I would anything between.
Yeah, look, depends whose money you're trading, mate. I think if you're on an A2W account, you need to be maximum risk at 1%, right? And if you're learning to trade, I would fully encourage that is your maximum risk. What I would suggest is light is probably 0.25%. 0.5%
Yeah.
kind of, you know, one tick backwards from a good setup, in my opinion. 0.25%, I reckon, is probably a better way to go.
Do you know where I think the best is personally, Helen, is a third, and the reason that I think a third,
somewhere between.
Yeah, but do you know why I like a third? Because, and I don't know why, but in trading, 3 does tend to be a fairly magic number. Don't know why, but it just does. You know, when you're looking for trend lines. Now, I know that we say that a second bounce off a trend line is confirmation that there's a trend line there or a horizontal level, but it's really touch 3 that confirms that you've got a genuine level of support and resistance. And things do tend to run. If you think about ABC patterns, you know, it's kind of 3 again. You know, there seems to be something with the number 3 in trading, which seems to work out pretty well. So if you go in at a third, and you can add twice, you know, you don't want to continue to add, because there's got to be a point where you go, right, that's it now. Now I'm just managing what I've got on. You go in at a third, another third, and another third. That's what you're looking to do, or that's what I'm looking to do. Then I think that's quite a good number. You go in at half, you've only really got one more you can add. Whereas if you go in at a third and you get a decent run, then eventually you get up to that 1%, and the trades that you win are going at 1% and more. The trades that you lose will only lose a third. That's why I quite like it as well, you know. So yeah, that would be my personal preference. Cool. Yeah, great. Third is great. That's really good. Now, is there anything you want to get to, mate? Because I've probably got to shoot off fairly soon. It's cutting back the FTSE anyway right now. But don't worry about any of that. You know, it can cut back as much as it likes. We've got good signals that this is going to be going higher today. It's just having a bit of a battle right now.
Yeah, look, really no, mate. And the reason is I've kind of sacked the dollar at the moment. I've got no confidence in the US dollar, and that doesn't mean that I don't think it can rally. What it does mean is I don't know what it's going to do next. I've got absolutely no idea. The dollar index is telling me that it's absolutely stuck in the middle of nowhere, and that it just printed a massive doji on the monthly chart, I think it was. Yeah. So it's got no idea either, and it is close to resistance, which tends to think, okay, it's going to be a little bit bearish. They're tipping massive deaths in the US this week. I don't know what that does. There's all sorts of reasons not to be trading against the US dollar at the moment. So for this show, the majors are really not where I want to be, but there are a couple of trades that we took last week, CAD Swiss and Pound CAD, that are doing quite okay. I think I put this show into those. I'm not sure. I think I snuck at them in there saying, oh, here's a couple of things I want you to have a look at. And I think one of them was CAD Swiss, the other one was Pound CAD. They're doing okay. We'll go through those in the US session tonight. But as far as the UK session is concerned, as I said, just all but sacked the US dollar at the moment. I want to see a trend, if you like, form or something that's substantial, pointing me in a direction. Okay, the dollar is now weak or the dollar is now strong. At the moment, it's neither here nor there. So for that reason, the majors are pretty much off my radar, mate. So I'm more than happy to call it quits here for now, and come back strong in the US session with the miners all lined up.
Great.
Pretty maids all in a row.
That'd be great. Okay, we'll do that. What exchange are they to trade off, Helen? Moderna, is that a Nasdaq stock or S&P or FTSE? In fact, I think it's FTSE. Let me know what they trade off, and I will have a look at them. We can have a look at those in the show at some point, maybe tomorrow. Right, yeah, we better go. We've got to go. I've got a meeting at 8:30, which is why we're shooting out a little bit early right now. But we're in the FTSE trade. We're going to manage it as we go. Now, what we're going to do is, if this does start to take off, the first thing I'd quite like to do is get the stops from this point just a little bit higher. So we're looking at the trend line along here, and we're going to track the trend line and make sure that that it's gone far enough. We're going to start sliding stocks up, but only if it takes off and takes out our highs. If it takes out the high, then we can start moving up. If it doesn't, we're not going to move too early. Okay, so we will just push off for now. We'll be back same trade time, same trade channel tomorrow, obviously. US company racing. Oh, cool. Okay. Yeah. Well, I think they're all at that, aren't they? All the racing companies are trying to do that. I will have a look at those, Moderna, and we will talk about those later today or tomorrow. We will get to that. Sorry for cutting it too short today, guys, but just got a bit of a hectic Monday, bit of a manic Monday, as the Bengals
Manic Monday. There you go. Yeah. Just another one.
Yeah, just another one. All right, happy trading, guys. We'll see you in the US session.
I hope you can be with us, guys. See you then. See you then, Ash.
See you, buddy.